Hey guys, another quick video. Yes, this is the same shirt as the last video. I am doing two videos in a day on the day of the Bills wild card game. Sacrilege, I know, but truth of the matter is I'm a Lions fan, so I have today off. Um, so I wanted to do a quick video here as we approach budget season and what we want to present to the board for the vote. Um, and I would like the people's feedback on this. The way I see it is there's three directions we can go. The first thing is I want to share with you guys um, some comparisons between us and other municipalities across the village. I extracted a bunch of data from the state, and then I went to a bunch of village or municipality websites to see the services people are getting for their taxes in those municipalities. And you guys can, this is all just truth. You can take it any way that you want. But the fact of the matter is, for our $4.5 million budget and $3.1 million tax levy, the waste, fraud, and abuse that you can just red line out immediately doesn't jump out at me. I consider myself a pretty math related guy, a pretty smart guy. There wasn't that amount of stuff that you could find immediately in where you want to go. So the answer comes: how do we spend the money? Where do we move money around for what matters to people? There is one guy on Facebook that talks about this missing money that's sitting somewhere that no one can find. Said he heard it from a former mayor. I have no idea what he's talking about. There was a project that we were awarded several years ago, and we chose, as a village, not me, I wasn't here, not to do that project, to go after another project. That state entity that we went with ended up pulling the rug on us. So there was an awarded project for something that would have been beneficial that we just didn't do. There was no check cut, and now the money is missing. Um, but that is how that worked out, and I assume that's what that gentleman's talking about. Otherwise, missing money. Every grant and everything that is done is severely audited many times over. Anything over a couple tens of thousands of dollars is looked at very minutely by the state. So that I don't know, but so our tax levy is, or our tax rate is in the 17%. That is top five in the state. I think it's fifth, might be fourth. And yeah, that jumps out at you and is the subject of ire for a lot of people. Um, the fact of the matter is, you can't just take that as an apples to apples sort of thing. The village source of income is property tax. There is no other sources of income. We are not Seneca Falls, who gets millions of dollars a year from the landfill. We're not even the town of Waterloo, who gets a boatload of money from the landfill every year. Some of these other property or places, I use Penn Yan as an example. They're almost a carbon copy when it comes to sort of number of lots and population. They have a much lower tax rate. The fact of the matter there is, there I actually have some of this data up in front of me. The village of Penn Yan's assessments are through the roof, to the tunes of millions of dollars more than ours. So that allows their tax rate to be down. If you guys just want a lower tax rate, it would be, we could reassess closer to what some of our neighbors are doing. That is what it is. But the other thing that you got to realize is the services that you get for that. And someone may have a DPW issue at their house, and they think that we're not doing good there and stuff, and all completely understandable. And as we get those phone calls, we try to get there. But when you compare us to like a Bath or a Penn Yan or a Newark or something like that, um, a lot of these places, they don't have a rec department. For example, they have a nonprofit Boys and Girls Club or a YMCA or something like that. No parks and rec, or no recreation at all. A lot of these, most of these places don't have a fire company that is village run. It is a fire protection district that is a line item taxable value um, on their town taxes. There are a lot of these places that don't have a municipal village run police force. It is run, either just the county does it, or it's run at the town level and it's built at that point. Um, there is a lot of places with much lower population than us, and stuff like that. The other one is water and sewer. This one's actually a little bit difficult, and I try to put this into context once in a while, because water and sewer is its own fund, right? We all pay our water and sewer bill, and when water and sewer things have to happen, water and sewer rates get up. We get new water plants, new sewer fixes, stuff like that. But the fact of the matter is that our service, our water and sewer service, has expanded to, uh, you know, many, many, many thousands of people more than just the village of Waterloo. And sometimes those people come back and contract with us on doing the billing, doing some maintenance, doing some meter changes, doing things like that. And all too often, over the last few years, those numbers were, if not picked out of thin air back in the day, it just never was raised over the time because those contracts happen all throughout the year, and trustees and mayors and board members, whatever, they just can't be bothered to do the math on what this stuff is costing us. When some rich guy down in Fayette wants to add a wedding venue or something like that, and they're putting in water to go down there, and we go down and help, the cost that we charge them to pay us back is kind of, so we're working on those fees. But the fact of the matter, a water, sewer, and district will just take all those little nickel and dimes out of there that we're potentially losing. We do quite a few things with our police force for court security and stuff like that we don't get paid back on and stuff. So there, when it comes to what services we offer, we have about 7 things. I call it sort of our divided Thanksgiving plate. We have the water, the rec center, the police, the water and sewer, or I think I said water twice. We have the fire and the DPW. Um, People calling for dissolution. I think the worst thing we could do is what Seneca Falls does and just bring the axe down, send it to the town, and absolutely nothing changes except the boundaries and more people paying into it. But then you just grow everything and nothing happens. Probably better off is to let us stay the course, um, and start divesting from some of these services and have them be line item bills so that you can go talk to that board, line items on your tax bill, and let you go to that board if you don't like the way things are handling, or pay, any amount will suffice. I think this is an important service, fire being one. It's vitally important that over the next year or so we get a fire district done. There are no reserves in our fire district. There are needs, mechanical needs, building needs at our at our fire company, and the village cannot support those needs while we do mutual aid and have agreements with neighboring municipalities to cover their fires as well. And when we try to raise those prices, they just sort of put a thumb in our eye and go to some other fire department to cover them, and we show up anyways because of mutual aid. So a fire district where everybody pays their fair share for the area we cover, and then we all approve their budget. If it came in that you had to pay $1.80 per thousand for fire, and it came to, I don't know, $3, $300, $33, whatever it is, I sure most people would say, yeah, whatever, do what you got to do. You guys are doing a good job. Uh, set up the reserves for that next truck in a couple years. The other one is I'm going to start floating in the next year or so that the rec center becomes a nonprofit. The fact of the matter is, we fund the rec center and all other culture, flowers, donations, stuff like that, at about $250,000 a year. And Fayette, Tire, Junius, everybody uses it, and we ask for some money from them. But as long as the rec center is not a nonprofit, they cannot ask for grant money. As a youth coach, I tried to get grant money. Ralph Wilson's a very good one, but without a tax exempt ID number, you don't qualify. So these are some things. The fire district, having the rec center go nonprofit, and the water and sewer authority at the county level. I think you're going to see things get a lot more streamlined and taxes go down in the village. That is the path that is going to take at least the rest of my term to finish. And people may say that's a terrible idea, and then we go and we change things from there. So on that note, I want to get into some data here on the way things are and how money is spent, and where you guys would like me to take money from to pay for this one, or you would like me to raise taxes to pay for these projects, or don't ever raise taxes, just run around putting out fires and filling in potholes and dealing with things as they come up. Those sort of a ballpark of the 3 ways we could go. We are at a 17% tax rate. The biggest hurdle, as I told you guys, our only source of income is property taxes. We don't have the other source of income. But I did say we're at a $4.5 million budget and a $3.1 million tax levy. Where's the rest of that come from? So the rest of that comes from, as I told you, we have agreements with Fayette and Waterloo for fire protection. We have agreements with Tire to read their water meters. We have agreements with uh, whatever municipality for the rec center, and stuff like that. And then also there's when we go and get the CDBG grant to help a lower income household deal with their sewer lateral and stuff like that. So that all of those dozens and dozens of grants that we apply for a year that come back to help usually a low income house is makes up that other $1 million. But I think you'll all be surprised to know, and this is a new one for me. It was actually on last year's budget thing, and I completely glossed over it. Only 48% of the village is taxable. So whether that means it's a church or it's a municipal building or something like that, we are only taxing the assessed value on 48% of the village. I don't know if pilots are included in there, but I believe there's only 2 pilots out there right now. But that is a staggering number, and I don't think there's anything that can ever be done about it. That is all sort of state law, if you're or federal law. And the fact of the matter is, we're the smallest, the most local that you can get is the village. So if the town has a building in the village, it's untaxed. If the county has a building in the village, it's untaxed, and stuff like that. So best thing we could do is if the county's got some buildings that they want to get rid of, is get those backs on the tax roll and best we can and get those going. Um, the other thing I want to say is there's another gentleman on Facebook that is obsessed with the tax cap vote that happened last year, the local law that was passed. I want to explain that to everyone. This was new to me, not a politics guy, and never really actually paid a lot of attention. I didn't live in the village until just a few years before I decided to run. I grew up in the village, but didn't live here as a taxpaying member. Um, the tax cap vote is a yearly local law. The vote last year has absolutely nothing to do with what we can do this year. Once we voted that we could rate go over 2% last year, and then we didn't, that law became obsolete and is now in the garbage. So what happened last year was we actually raised the tax levy 2% and kept the tax rate the same. How did that happen? Well, there were, I believe, a one building fell off the pilot program. Another building started renting all of its units and became assessed differently or whatever. So the assessed money that we came in without doing reassessments on everybody went up 2%. So that's the levy went up 2%, but no one's rate changed. You all pay if your house wasn't reassessed, you paid the exact same as the year before. So the tax cap vote will happen in March, I think, or April, maybe with the new trustees, and then we vote on the budget in later April or June or something like that. So that tax cap vote is a non last year's is a non-issue. I think it's been every year, but my first vote on the board, it's been voted on to be raised, and then they either don't raise it, or I think one year under Jack they did a bunch of road projects and raised it one time, but that was it. Largely, we don't raise the levy much over the past several years, other than that one year under Jack, I believe. So here it is. We do 440,000, and this is going to be 1,000 foot view. It's broken up into like 6 categories. 440,000 in general government administration. So that is uh, the village administrator's salary, the board salary, mayor's salary, any legal that we do, the building thing, all of the buildings that we have to pay for, stuff like that. Some insurances are in there, insurance on those buildings and stuff like that. Comes out to be $440,000. $1 million, $1.09 million is on public safety. That's fire and police. 966,000 of that is on the police. That is the chief, 6 full-time officers. I think we have 7 that we're paying for. The cars, the body armor, the guns, the ammo, the cameras, there's even fire extinguishers, computers, all that stuff going on in there. The secretary for the police force. I believe some of these building costs go per department and stuff like that. But that's $1 million. We've made a lot of changes in the last year, and we'll continue to make next year to work on how payroll works and what happens for unforeseen time off and stuff like that, so that we never go over that, at least. We're just, everybody's always on duty when we expect them to be on duty. Um, I think there's probably a little bit of room to not have some of the costs on other things go up, but payroll is pretty well set at where it is. Um, a lot of people count the cars and have questions about that and stuff like that. So we're always looking at that. 1.147 million on transportation DPW. That's payrolls. That's road work, snow removal. Some trying to think of what else is in there. I'm trying to give you a little bit deeper view. Don't want you to nitpick every single thing. But we end up running into the equipment, the skid steer, the excavator, stuff like that. We used to have an agreement with the town of Waterloo that we shared a lot of that equipment. They have recently pulled out. So we have a little bit of a budget crisis there on the DPW side where we got to basically buy out their half and keep the equipment, and then we make up some of that budget with selling the old equipment, because being a municipality, we get it at a rock bottom price. We get it while it's on warranty. When it's off warranty, we sell it. We pretty much make back all the money that we need to buy the next one. So we always have good equipment, and it doesn't cost anybody everything. But that was always shared. So we have a 1 year problem where we have to buy out Waterloo. $223,000 is recreation and culture. That's the payroll over there. That's maintaining the floors, as we always do. Any additions we need to the play structures and basketball hoops, um, the donations to community events and the museum, Memorial Day, the flowers, stuff like that. Um, I think we pay for a pizza party for some volunteers now and again, stuff like that. So that's at $200,000. It's not huge. I would like to see that increased, not with the taxpayers' money, but with people getting more invested in what goes on down there. I'm trying to work on more programming. I think if we created a sort of a public-private committee of people to get the programming going there, give Mike a hand with not running it, but getting it going, and then he can be there when it happens. Um, $300,000 on home and community service. That is basically trash, payroll, and truck. That's the cemetery work that we do, and zoning and planning and codes salaries, or whatever costs are associated with that, are in there. Employee benefits, that's a big one. It's all union. I think it's mandatory by the state. I don't know if we can vote our way out of a union. Not that we want to lose everybody the second we did that, anyways, because that would probably happen. But employee benefits is $1.1 million. Believe it or not, before I got here, I think through Don's diligence, but it was under John or Jack that this was shopped, and they came up with some unique, creative ways to do this, and also a lot of it goes, work comp and all that stuff goes through the county. Those rates skyrocketed this year. Everybody, I think you'll notice some of our neighboring municipalities who don't usually raise taxes raise theirs a little bit this year. I think that probably had a lot to do with it. And then we only have $160,000 on debt service. Uh, I'll give everybody a slap on the back for keeping our debt low in the village over this time. Um, so, with that said, uh, obviously, drainage was a big topic amongst the people who had drainage problems, and we have, um, when those rain events happen, there's other issues going on at the sanitary sewer that you guys probably aren't always made aware of, but it has to do with rainwater infiltrating into the sanitary sewer, people dumping their gutters and their floor drains into the sanitary sewer. There's problems at interconnections with the town of Waterloo and pump stations and all that stuff. Um, so there is I think it was a $4 million project planned with the town of Waterloo to fix all that, not dump wastewater that has just been treated with chlorine into the canal when something like that happens. Create more capacity at the sewer so that we could possibly expand, bring everybody's tax or rates down so that we have more customers. Um, so that is one project. There is several millions of dollars on drainage projects, both starting at William Street and heading south all the way to um, the canal on the west side. There is the school down to William Street so that we could complete all of the west side. There is the whole east side from Bruno Bach all the way up to, up and past D&Ms and getting all of that stuff fixed. But when these projects, there's two road projects we would like to do. Even though Locust Street doesn't go anywhere at the end of the bridge, that's a problem. The east side of Huff Street is very, very bad. I believe west of, or East Elizabeth is another one that is very, very bad. So there's two road projects we want to do. So the fact of the matter is, when you get these 6 or 8 projects, that I'm going to have a list at the next meeting, which is actually tomorrow. Um, I mean, we could pick and choose between $24 million worth of projects. And when people say, the village isn't doing anything, what are they doing? All of these projects cost money. Now, I think we're in a good way with the DPW to sort of think of things another way. What can we do with our men and machines, before we need to bring in separate contractors and engineers and all of those sorts of things to keep the costs down. But to do these big projects that'll have the village completely 100% prepared for the next 100-year rain, and no one floods no matter what, you're looking at tens of millions of dollars. And we will rank these and we will share all of these at the board meeting tomorrow. But also, no one wants their taxes go up. So I ask you, where would you like to see us move money around to pay for those bonds that we would have to do? Or would you like to say, I want to live in a really nice village, I will pay more in taxes, but let's do these first and do the rest over time, and or set up some reserves for these things? Or do you want us to just continue paying cost of living increases and we just run around filling in potholes, putting out fires as they happen, a hole in the sewer, the sanitary sewer plant, or the black mold in the back of the police station, whatever it is that might pop up, or Waterloo pulls out of a deal with our equipment. We got to pay for that. The uh, uh, emissions requirements on the trash truck go bad and we got to take it up to retro. I mean, that's the stuff that comes up that we don't really budget for, but we move the money around. But if we don't raise taxes, that's all we do. The money stays the way we do. We fund the rec center at 200,000. We fund the employee benefits at $1 million, the police at $1 million, and let me go back to where that was. But it comes down to, in looking at this stuff, are some of these positions priced out of what the town can afford? Maybe we can save $10,000 here, $20,000 there, and do one of these projects. I think the fact of the matter is that as some of these retirements happen, if the next mayor sees things the way I see, or we discuss things, we're gonna look at things differently. Like maybe we're the minor leagues for some of these positions. If you want to make a career out of it, you're going to move on to the state or the county or whatever. But the village can only afford this. But we're going to let some of these people retire in peace. It's not costing us a ton of money right now, but it does probably have to change. That's the only place we can save, I mean, we're talking less than $100,000 if we were to figure all these out. But that said, I mean, that's really what I would love everybody to start coming to. I didn't get as in depth as I had planned on this. It's hard to talk to you guys and pull up all this data and my notes at the same time. But we're 48% taxable. We're at a 17% rate. Our assessments are awfully low, which is why we're at a 17% rate. We levy $3 million out of those 48% of lots on this village, or in this village, and we do $1 million in public safety, $1 million in public works, and we do employee benefits, and then there's government administration and culture and recreation, and basically the garbage. So that is where things are. I'd be open to talk to where and come to the budget meetings when they happen later this winter. And if you think we can move, couple tens of thousands of dollars here and there to pay for one of these projects, let me know. Or if you think we don't need to do any of these projects, or the other idea is we just keep applying for grants. Like I said in the previous video, the state extracts an insane amount of money out of the village. We should be doing everything we can do to claw it back. So as we try to claw that money back, we can let some of these projects wait to pay for those, and we rank them, and we see how many people benefit from each one of these, what the cost is, what the village's share of this thing is, because some of these grants have matches and stuff like that. So that's the way the village has been run pretty much, is run around putting out fires, apply for grants, rank your projects, try to do a project as the money becomes available. Um, the household income survey, I think, came back successful. We're going to submit that with the state, and then if we do have to take out bonds and we do some of these projects, we should get favorable financing, meaning like 0% or whatever, but we still have to make a bond payment on these projects. So, uh, coming soon is what those projects are. If the public feels strongly about them, we'll have to figure out how to pay for them. If the public feels strongly about them, but they don't want to pay for them, they'd like a grant to pay for it, we'll continue doing everything we can to get that, claw that money back from the state and get that paid for. Um, or, there actually, believe it or not, are voices in this village that believes we should be a proper village and raise the taxes to pay for these things that need to be done. So that's really the three or four directions we can take. And I hope you guys do make your voices heard in the next few months here. Don and I are going to have a bunch of meetings here where we go over this stuff with a fine tooth comb. We go over how these last few months are, is all the payroll being met with overtime as fires come about, or the police has something they have to do that puts overtime stress on them. Make sure we're going to hit budget and we don't have to do any modifications, and then how we're going to fund next year. Um, and then after that meeting is done, we'll talk to the board about it, see where they're thinking on voting for the tax cap, or if we've heard from the people and we don't need them to vote, just in case, sort of thing. Um, but that is the gist of it. I encourage, if anybody wants to see this data that I pulled about us compared to like villages, the biggest thing you can do when you're talking about the tax rate is look at the population and the assessed values on those places and what services they offer. I think you'll find many don't have fire, many don't have rec center, many don't have fire police protection, and then they're probably on the water and they're making millions and millions of dollars on assessments. That's not to say we shouldn't always be striving. That's not an excuse. We shouldn't always be striving to be as fiscally responsible as we can be. But other than maybe just salaries running away from what a village can afford or what the median salary is in here, I think in the next 2 years we'll be making headway on that one. So that is, I think that's it on this. Anybody has any questions, please reach out. I said in the other video, but if you didn't care to watch it, I'm in the office early in the morning until 9:30. I have a standing meeting at work that I run, and then I go to my 9 to 5. And then, but if anybody wants to meet late afternoon, let me know, set a meeting, and I will go into work early and cut out early and try to meet with you on whatever questions you have or further explanation that you want. Um, I will tell you, I mean, not to pat my own back or anything like that. When people have taken me up on this, I think you'll find that our positions are usually very well thought out, and anything that you may have a question on, we've tackled it. We've tried to figure out why or what, or where is this coming from. But it's I had the same budget questions as the rest of you. It's just once you look into where every dollar is spent and then what other municipalities are doing with their money, we offer a lot for our money. And you may know somebody who works for us and you don't like them, and so you have a preconceived notion on that who department or whatever. But it's we do all right for our union contracts and the work we get done. The fact of the matter is some of the stuff can't get done until the board votes for them to do it. And if it means we have to raise taxes and there's no funding for that, we wait for the grant. So that's the way this stuff works. And we are about to get into the next budget. So let us know how you want us to proceed. If we're going to concede with no taxes raised but get some stuff done, some of the stuff is going to have to wait for a grant. So I look forward to hearing from some of you guys. But as all, that's it for now. Let's cheer for the Bills Lions Super Bowl. Talk to you later. Bye.